This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on! Game on!
We are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast, episode 82. First of all, we apologize for not having a show last week. We said we were going to 2 weeks ago, but things got busy. We have schedules go crazy with stuff, just how it is. So this isn't a full-time gig, so we all have other things to do. So we promised to try and have shows weekly, but things just come up and sometimes it happens. Start off real quick with a drink for this evening. Again, a wonderful old fashioned. This one, a Blue Note Juke Joint whiskey. It is unfiltered. First time drinking it, and definitely will drink some more of it. Picked it up when I was visiting Mike McKenna last weekend and hadn't had a chance to open it yet. So cheers to everybody. Speaking of drinking, the man that loves to drink and advertises with us all the time, Mitch, with the Drink Your Face Off line of barware and clothing. We'll talk a little bit about Mitch and others here in a few minutes with Paul Rank and the expo that happened out there. Sorry also if we, meaning more me, sound different. My current Rodecaster board took a crap over the weekend, so I'm just doing this off the laptop, so I've lost ability to modify a few things, but I'm going down to pick up a new one to the tune of $800 this weekend. Isn't technology wonderful? So we'll touch on some auctions here in a bit because we've had some other technical issues and Justin needs a run in a few. So let's get right into what you're doing this weekend first, Justin.
I am going north to cross the border into the great province of Manitoba. I'm going to see all my Winnipeg neighbors at Pegspo. We know Pete has put a lot of effort into this. He has dealt with a curveball or two, and I think it's going to be an amazing experience. Sounds like he's got a lot of excellent displays, a lot of really good vendors. Should be a very diverse show with basketball, some minor league baseball, and of course hockey jerseys. So I am stoked. I am going to test the limits of the de minimis exemption on the way home. Hopefully I don't get hassled too much on the way back on Saturday afternoon. And then, hopefully by the time I get home, I don't have to worry about extra taxes because of tariffs and all that stuff.
We had Pete on. I know it's going to be a fun show. I can't wait to see all the pictures. Wade's joining us too. He was having some tech issues. Looks like he's here now. Hopefully we can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Much better.
Yes, we can. Yes.
Wow.
You missed about 2 minutes of the show is all, so welcome. Glad we got it all sorted out. So
Yeah, me too. Geez, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Justin was just talking about Pegspo with leaving up there and crossing the border, but I hope that expo goes extremely well. I know David Ayers did have to cancel, especially after Wade sent cards up there to get to Justin to get signed. Hey, it happens. Things come up. We totally get it, but I know it's going to be an exciting time. And Justin, hopefully, will be able to join us next week. Kind of give us a wrap on that as well.
Yeah.
So
David,
good.
sign my cards.
Yeah. Or they'll come back signed, and Justin will have done a really nice job with an autograph. So, what are you looking forward to most up there, Justin?
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing the usual crew. It sounds cliche, but it's the friendships in the hobby. Too many guys that I'm friends with to rattle off, but it's just Pete does such a good job. I hope to catch him and just to kind of thank him for putting it on. So it really will be seeing what some of the classic pieces that are in everyone's collections and seeing what everyone has added since the last time I was up there in August. But it really is kind of it'll just be mainly to catch up with friends, really. I mean, it's more of a social thing at this point than it is for a hockey thing. Now I am getting a couple of luck of the draw jerseys, so let's hope I come home with a Kyle Connor jersey in my possession.
And,
Maybe
and check with Pat Lelliot on that. I believe today, this being Thursday night, you listen to this Friday morning. I believe there were 4 spots left, if I read that posting correctly. So if you want to try and get in at last minute, reach out to him. He can help you with that. And and you can probably work with somebody to get the jersey to you if you're down here and can't join the expo, things like that. I know they can sort that all out, but can't wait to hear who ends up with what out of that draw.
I mean, honestly, I think it's 400 Canadian, so what's that, close to 280 US? There's not a jersey there that's not worth that at minimum. And then you throw in some of the nicer ones. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 heritage jerseys, and I mean, you go into just that's one of those jersey designs that are universally liked. That blue and the heritage red just looks so good. So I'll be happy with anyone. So we'll have to see.
Well, good luck, and yeah, definitely join us next week if you can report back. If not, feed us the info and we'll fill it in. There was another little expo on the West Coast, and great pictures. It looked a lot of people posted online during the expo. Looked like they had a great time, right, Paul?
Oh yes, yeah, that was the Southern Cal Expo. We had Melly and Michael on, 2 weeks ago now,
Yep.
to talk about it beforehand, and it was an incredible show. I think we had 25 tables of people there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's right. LA Kings were there selling a bunch of their jerseys and a little bit of gear and stuff. Collectors from all over. Besides Mitch, we had people from Vancouver, Chicago, Arizona, all over California. It it was just a lot of fun seeing everyone again because the last time we were down there, I believe it was 4 years ago for the expo. So we've missed the last couple, and it was just wonderful catching up with everyone. I mean, that's why you go to these things, as Justin mentioned earlier. So you got to see a lot of friends, made a bunch of new friends. There, came home with a few additional jerseys, which is always nice.
Imagine that.
Yes, yes. And some jerseys went the other way too. So some trades, some sales. It's um, like I said, Michael and Melly did a great job. Lots of great displays. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a Gretzky helmet.
Oh wow.
There's one there for display. A lot of really cool goalie masks and stuff. Some real good vintage stuff from the 40s. Don't believe any of it was for sale, and if it was, I don't want to know the pricing. But it's
And isn't it funny when you see people showing the older stuff like that in the collections and you look and realize how small it is? Could you imagine trying to put a current NHLer in one of those jerseys?
not one bit. I mean, I have one wool jersey for a goalie from 1938, and that thing. I mean, I can't imagine a player putting that on even without gear. These days, and throwing the gear, and it's just ridiculous. So, but yeah, no, that stuff's always nice to see. A lot of really good displays. It's the room was big enough that we fit everything in, had lots of room to walk around. Different vibe than the San Jose show, and what I mean by that, the San Jose show was a big open show. We were in a bar where there was a hockey tournament going on. We had a lot of walk-through traffic, so I'm keeping my second eye on the Constantine off to make sure that doesn't walk off, and it's because you don't know everyone who's in there, and we had no issues, but you still have that sense of nervousness. For the Southern Cal show, it's almost everyone has a table, and then just a few walk-in people. It is open to the public, but you don't get like people walking by. Oh, there's a hockey jersey show. Let's go see what that is. Which we had in San Jose. So I felt very comfortable walking around and not worrying about anything disappearing. I don't think there's never been an issue with that at the show, but it is a little bit different in that regards. It was easier to talk to people, and let's be honest, I wasn't hosting it, so it was a lot easier.
Funny how that makes a difference, as
Oh, it
Wade
really
knows
does.
as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Cold.
I didn't relax at the San Jose show till second period of the game afterwards.
Wow.
Just making sure everything's, going the way it should, and it's stressful, and I know Michael and Melly feel that, so it's a huge thank you to them for putting the show on.
So what was the Kings pricing like on their stuff?
Really good. Former players were $200 to $400 each,
Wow.
which when you look at their website, it's a lot more than that. For an example, I picked up an Alex Edler jersey. I think that was $250.
Oh.
So, which I'm thrilled to have. I'll have to check my price list. I don't think I have that right here of what I picked up. Nope. Yeah, I picked up, well, a Lizotte, which was cheap with lots of wear on it.
That's gonna end up at
Yeah, that's probably going to North Dakota. So it's and then trying to remember. So I think like Moore was about 1,000. And some of the current players, and bigger names were in that price range, like 800
Sure.
to I think 1,500. Like Fiala was there. Some really nice
Were
jerseys.
you surprised who they brought there?
Um, I was surprised at the pricing because the Kings always, have been not cheap to put it
Oh,
nicely. And
sure.
I thought these jerseys were cheap. We picked up a couple of hoodies at I think they were 40 or $50 each,
Oh,
player
wow.
hoodies. So
Wow.
yeah. Monica
That's
got a Byfield hoodie, which she's really happy with, and two
Huh.
went to my sister, who we stayed with
nice.
down there. Yeah, it's kind of what I was expecting on the players. The good news was they were all Adidas, so I did not have to deal with my Fanatics issue there. So and
The
yeah,
hoodies were the hoodies Fanatics though?
the hoodies were Fanatics, so it's
You still had to give some Fanatics money, but that's okay.
yeah. Well, it's going to the well. This is the other thing with the Kings and their jerseys. It's all for a charity, Kings Care Foundation. So all the money goes there. So it's not going to Fanatics, okay? Yes,
True. They've already got their money for the team. But no,
exactly.
that's awesome, and it's great to see with Pegspo, with that expo, with Wade's expo in October, and hopefully with the Frozen Four coming up next month, the Blues, the Kings, the
Yes.
Jets. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. Teams coming to these expos, and I hope other expos can, if they've got a team near them, can start talking them into it and use these expos as examples. As hey, teams are coming here and they're doing great. I mean, the Blues pretty much sold out, I think, of almost every jersey they brought. It sounds like the Kings moved probably a good portion of theirs. I'm assuming the Jets always do pretty well.
I mean, I personally like to contribute to, the lessening of Pat's
I
inventory.
think, yeah, it seems like, I mean, it's a great entryway for the teams to become acquainted with their collecting fan base, not their fan base or their season ticket holders, but the collectors, which is sometimes a different segment. I mean, you see Migrate, being involved in both the Philly show, their own show, and the Nova. So that plays a part in it. And you see the teams like LA and San Jose and Winnipeg and everybody, that's a huge part of them understanding and learning more about what we like as much as what's the best way to market this stuff to collectors. And I think it's a great thing, and it's a great growth in the hobby, because I think 5 or 6 years ago that was more hard pressed than it is getting to be today.
Well, and your teams are unloading their stock too. I mean,
for sure. I mean, they got to get rid of this stuff. I mean,
back to Blake Lizotte, I can't imagine there's a long line of people out for his gamers, and
yeah,
the fact that they're able to get him out, and I mean, and I would assume if you look at the Pegspo list, there are a lot of jerseys from a certain year that the Jets are getting rid of. So I mean, it's it's inventory control at a manner that puts it into the hands of collectors, and
It's a good thing.
yeah, it's definitely a good thing, and it's done well. I mean, Pat deserves a lot of credit for the Jets game worn program, but for continuing to be visible in these spaces, I agree with Wade.
Well, we'll let you get out of here, Justin, because I know you've got some other things to take care of. Enjoy your spring break, and hopefully we'll talk. And please have a safe trip. Hopefully we'll catch up with you next week.
Sorry I started so late, Justin.
Sorry about David Ayers, and I'll get you those cards signed eventually.
I'm not kidding. It's all good.
He'll chase David Ayers down. Have a good one, Justin. But it's and a part of it too with the teams coming. I find it a little bit of a captive audience because they know everybody's there for jerseys in their market, and especially with so many teams dumping. We know they have all. I think all teams have a backstock of Adidas, and might as well get rid of them because the Blues. I mean, the number of preseason ones and other ones that they moved for super cheap. I don't mind picking up some jerseys just at that price because it's cheaper than authentic.
Yeah. It's I mean, here I think that the way the Blues have bought into the fans and collector aspect of it has allowed them to really clean the coffers out over the last couple of years, especially. I think they did a good job of it with the summer sale already, but at this point, they're not getting stuck holding on to preseason sets or secondary sets. I mean, that stuff's moving, and it sounds like other teams are taking advantage of it too. So, and that's good for the hobby. I mean, there's a lot of teams that suck at it. Right off the bat, I say that, and I think Islanders. Like what the hell does that look like? I mean, they're not selling any jerseys, and all that stuff's got piling up somewhere. The Blackhawks, same thing. I mean, I think they've just now started to tinkle out a couple. But realistically, like, what's that backlog look like?
Right.
So I think for the collector fan, it's great when you have a franchise that not only is paying attention, but also actively pursuing collectors and moving jerseys to them and equipment.
Yes. Tell you what, let's get back because we kind of went out of order, Wade, to make sure Justin got a chance to talk before he had to leave. Touch on some of the auctions going on around the collecting community at this time. We do have the Stadium Series auction on NHL auctions, both the Detroit Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. They opened a handful of days ago. They do close in 4 days, March the 10th.
Yeah, those are the first period jerseys.
Yes, and we talked about this before, but seeing them again in this, they are gorgeous. Both of those teams. I love on the Red Wings because I don't remember seeing that when we talked about it the first time. Is the arch nameplate, but being in red on that white, and of course the Columbus with the big cannon and that, and the colors and striping. It's just it's all around solid. I'll be curious to see where those close at. There are some Four Nations pucks, practice pucks, warm up pucks, other stuff still out there from that.
Well, on that, the some of that Four Nations stuff's popped up on eBay.
Oh yes, it has. Fanatic. I missed that. Fanatics
has dropped some of that stuff on their Sportsmem. I think it's the sportsmem.com eBay tag that they use. So I have a feeling that we're seeing those around for a while.
Yeah, and I didn't have a chance to look at the details of those. What games are those?
I think especially on the non-US Canada ones, I think they have a lot. I think they're going to end up having a lot of those floating around, it seems like. So I mean, it's going to be if they wore a lot of jerseys,
And it seems like the documentation isn't very clear on where. I mean, in the NHL auctions page, it said yes, partial periods this game, or full period or full game this one, but it's all over the board for the number of games they played. So I'd be curious to see if anybody can actually come up with a true list of this was this game, or here's total how many.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that
another auction that just closed, the Battle of Alberta last year. Edmonton jerseys just closed.
Yes, last night.
I was those things kind of like sat stagnant for a while, and I was a loser last night. I was trying to get the Dylan Holloway for a reasonable price. It went right around $1,000, which was just a touch more than I was willing to spend on it, considering some other things I've had going on. But those got just like, man, NHL auctions just gets late heat. I think that's the thing I've noticed. Those things like will just double in that last hour, and it's insane to watch how those things build pricing. So stop doing that to me. Whoever's bidding, stop it.
That's funny. From Migrate's got a few things going on. They have the ECHL Heritage Classic helmet auction that ends March 27th. They still have the gloves auction. It ends just a few days on March 11th. They also have the Columbus Blue Jackets photo shoot jersey and helmet auction. It goes until March 25th. And again, those Columbus jerseys are sharp. I did not realize until I saw the game and that the Gaudreau patch was on the left chest and the A's and C's are on the right. If you're wearing the jersey. So I thought that was kind of a neat swap instead of doing it the other way. But yeah, they are very beautiful. So you've got a couple different options on Columbus ones. And if you don't care if it's worn or not, you might be able to get them a little bit cheaper through the Migrate auction. GameWornAuctions.net. They close tomorrow at me mentioning it right now. There is exactly 1 day and 30 minutes until that is over. So
Plus extended bidding.
yes,
Yeah.
don't forget that. And a lot of people get upset when anything has extended bidding.
Sucks.
So
I'm on the other side. I'm all for extended bidding. Just it prevents people from getting sniped.
yeah.
I like sniping.
Yes.
So that's those things to keep track of. You do have we want to talk about some other expo dates. Migrate just announced theirs for July the 12th this year. So if you're looking to go to that, you now have that date out there. It's in Branchburg, New Jersey at Raritan Valley Community College Conference Center. They'll announce all that stuff. If you follow Migrate, or we'll mention it, you'll see it on the Facebook pages and that. So all those are out there. But we are just over a month away from Wade's.
Yeah. Ooh. I actually went today and met with them for setting that up. A little bit of news on the Frozen Four. There is a baseball card shop or like a hobby shop called Ripping Rookies that's actually in the same building that we're having the event. And I've actually talked to that gentleman who owns that, and they're going to be open. So there's going to be kind of neat to see some foot traffic from his normal busy Saturday, kids and whoever else normally does his thing, and his fans and collectors. So they'll be able to come in and take a look at the jerseys. It was actually really neat. I met with a lady who's like their event planner, and she was actually really excited about it. She thought it was going to be really neat. So I just actually sent some pictures of the venue to you guys in one of our group texts. So I'm really excited. I'm kind of calling this one a meet and greet since it's a little bit shorter, 1 day thing, and it's going to be a neat little show. And I think we're going to have some fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing Paul and Monica and, some other folks that are coming in for it. And I think we're going to have, as always, a fun little room. It should be a good time. So looking forward to seeing everybody in about a month.
And if Penn State makes it, then we'll see Justin in St. Louis as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we're holding our breath for that.
No.
But, yeah. So it should be fun. On another note about that, I did stop at my alma mater, Lindenwood, and they're excited. I'm seeing about maybe having them have a little involvement in it as well, that I'm not really ready to announce yet, but should be fun. It was neat. Like, went and talked to Bill Muckalt, the new head coach, and actually took him a couple of his jerseys that I own to show him, and he was very entertained by that. And it was pretty neat. So it's always neat to share our hobby with guys like that who maybe don't have a good understanding of it. But we're definitely ready for the show. I'm ready to host everybody and be stressed out like Paul mentioned.
And
Yeah, so
we've
I
got
mean,
some other ones coming up relatively soon too, I believe.
yeah. In addition, well, we Winnipeg, of course, which
Yes.
Justin will report on after he survives that trip. March 22nd is Nova. That's coming up quickly too. That's out there in Northern Virginia. What town is that? Manassas, Virginia. So that's the one Francis puts on every year. Really good show. And then of course the one we're just talking about, the Frozen Four, and then not much for a while until we get to Migrate,
Yeah.
which is a little bit surprising, but
I'm and I am planning on going to Migrate this summer. So July's gonna be a busy month for me because I also have the Sports National, the big national in Chicago this year. I'll be going to that at the end of the month. But as of right now, I am planning on going out to Migrate to visit since I'm going to miss Nova. And I wanted to apologize publicly to Francis. Just my schedule just isn't allowing me to get out there. So pretty disappointed because I actually really, really look forward to Nova and a lot of friends I've made and seeing a lot of people. So I'm going to miss hanging out with my boys, Matt and Dan and everybody else. But sometimes life takes priorities.
And I do want to make a side shout out to Dan. Big thank you because he has heard and others have heard me mentioning stickers, and I promise I will get those out to people soon that have already asked for them and get some others. Dan actually had stickers with our logo made as well.
Oh, he's
Sent
the
me
best.
pictures of them. He is, if he gets, I believe he's going to be at Nova. I know he's planning on throwing some out there
Yep.
and some other places. So a huge shout out to him. Thank you for that because he did not have to do that, and it means a lot that he took our logo, got some stickers made as well from a different company, so we can see
Yeah,
which ones hold up better, things like that.
yeah. That's neat. I'm excited for my stickers.
Yes, I need we'll spread a bunch out here just over a month from now, and I even have one on the back of my laptop now, so we look all official, and I'll put one on my board once it comes in, all that kind of good stuff.
When
So
I get a new laptop after tonight's debacle, I'll put it on.
hey, you know what? As somebody that works in IT, I had a total disaster. We were hosting an event last Saturday. My son and I were for Music Bingo, and I'd gone the week before because it's a venue I've never messed with their audio stuff. Tested everything, and it was perfect. Worked exactly how I wanted it to, and show up Saturday, and none of it worked the way it was supposed to. And then in the process, my board died. So we made it work. It turned out fine and was a great event and raised some money for the teen theater. But yeah, technology happens. I work in that for a living. Paul used to, and it's just how it is. Hey, we made it work, and we're still having a fantastic show. So that's. I'm trying to think of anything else to touch on. Oh, tomorrow's a big day. It is the trade deadline. I've been watching my phone as we've been on the show. There's some rumors of some things. The Rangers maybe just saw this come up. Working on a deal to get Paterka out of Buffalo.
Wow.
And
Yeah, that it opens a big question. Guys leave teams and new jerseys, old jerseys, values. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit. It's always interesting how that works. When a guy goes to a new team, if you're a collector of a player, that can be exciting and nerve wracking depending on the player and what the team is, what the availability of the jerseys are. But it also brings up the idea of what happens if you have a higher end player who has a good value on a team and then suddenly he's not on that team anymore.
yeah, does it? I mean, you see some collectors do seem to move those if their player moves.
Yeah.
Others don't care where they are and they have that jersey. But yeah, I guess Paul, we'll start with you. Do you think, and everybody's going to be yelling and disagreeing on this once we post this podcast, but do you think it actually affects that, or is it more of just people may lose interest because they own it, and now because he's not a member of that team, it doesn't mean as much?
well, I think you first have to look at how the jerseys retail directly from the team, and almost every team drops a player's price the moment they're traded.
Yeah.
I remember the Wild used to always do that when the Wild had jerseys listed, or you can call and get them. I forget what I think they dropped everything like $300, no matter who the player was when they were
Wow.
traded. And I could be off by 100 or so on that price, but I just remember checking the website to see, when the traded player would show up there, with the lowered price, or calling them. So I mean, I think you lose part of the potential customer base audience or whatever you want to call it from that team for that player. You know, when someone leaves the Sharks, which is like half the team this week.
Right. I was just gonna say it. So it's a fire sale at the Shark store.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're going to have to lower some of those jerseys when they go on sale. Well, if they do go on sale this Saturday. Background on that: the Sharks have not had a home game in a month. Last one was February 8th, March 8th, the next home game,
Wow.
and I'm sure the Sharks Pro Shop will be getting in a lot of new stuff. And it's you're also then looking at the style. So like the Cali Finn jerseys, which are insanely popular, they probably don't need to discount those too much for a traded player. But for the run of the mill teal and white, unless Mitch buys them all, it's
Well, and just before we came on, actually about an hour before we came on, Mitch had made a post up and had his Wallman jersey up there, and I'm like, unfortunately, he's going to Edmonton because there were
Yeah.
several posts on him. The biggest thing, and we laughed about off the air, was Edmonton is having a hell of a time rostering a team tonight. So there's all kinds. I can't wait to hear those details tomorrow of what all they did.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Mitch, sorry, Wallman's going away. So, but yeah, I mean, favorite player, whatever. You don't know by what tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central, I think, or
Yeah, it's tough.
you don't know who's going to change where.
I mean, like as everybody knows, I clicked Ryan O'Reilly when he left St. Louis. It definitely changed the market and value for that stuff. To me, it didn't change a whole lot because I've still continued to collect him. But then, he gets to Toronto, and I'm like, oh God, now I got to try to track down Toronto jerseys. And then it was, oh, thank God he went to Nashville. Although I am not a Nashville fan, their jerseys are readily available through our good friends at Migrate. So, whereas Toronto was more of a challenge across the border, having to make some connections to get those. And also him being there a limited amount of time. So, God, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely changes the market for guys depending on the guy. I mean, in some cases, if a guy gets better as he's gone somewhere, he grows as a player, then down the road you can see some of those jerseys becoming more desirable or harder to find. So
yeah, and one of the things.
Timing.
Sorry, go ahead, Wade.
No, it's just all about timing, I think.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned timing because sometimes you'll see, especially if it's a popular player, you see it the other way. Is take O'Reilly for example. He goes to Toronto. People up there would like to have a game worn jersey of him, and now they'll be reaching out to people in St. Louis trying to get one. And we've seen that happen with other popular guys is trying to get their gamers from the team they came from.
Yeah. I mean, here, like the Tkachuk, you look at Matt Tkachuk, I mean, he goes down to Florida, which has pretty good following of their jerseys. Calgary has theirs, but, he's just such a marketable player. There's still a lot of people who would just be just as happy to get a Calgary one as an alternative to trying to find a Florida one.
For sure. So it's a lot of back and forth, but long term, and I had this conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago that was helping somebody move some jerseys and had questions on pricing and that. And I said, you understand the longer those people have been away from the team, not necessarily that it may not be less desirable, but your market of interest, especially if they weren't a big star, just isn't there.
I found that a lot with, like I always call your third and fourth line guys who in St. Louis are really heart and soul players. And there's a lot of those guys that people fall in love with, and they have a love affair with them when they're here. And, you'll see those third, fourth line guys sell for pretty good money in the auctions or secondarily. And like you just said, then you'll notice, when they get away for a while or retire or leave the game, suddenly those things are a little, people forget that. They forget them. They've got a new favorite third or fourth line guy. And that happens, I think, on a lot of teams, but obviously with the ones that I follow, I pay attention to it a little bit more.
Sure, your market has shrunk for who may be interested in those.
Yeah, for sure.
And the price point has, in
Changed.
most cases, would have come down.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that, the one that, Oscar Sundqvist, when he was here the first time, super popular, super desired, everybody wanted him. I remember after he left a little bit, before he came back, it was kind of not really a desired, somebody was looking out for kind of thing,
Yeah, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Like I said before, talking before the show, one of the places I plug, I'll have it up in my office, is Daily Face-Off Live is doing, starting at 10 a.m. Central Time for 5 hours, a live trade show. I know, Paul, you said you follow the NHL.
Yeah, just on NHL Network, they broadcast the TSN feed.
Yeah,
which most years is highly entertaining and worthwhile watching. I am going to check out though the one you mentioned,
Daily Face-Off Live.
Yeah, Daily Face-Off. Yeah, I
They
mean, I
stream...
use them.
Tomorrow should be relaxing for you, Paul. I don't think you guys have anybody left to move.
Well, no, but remember, I'm a Red Wings fan, so
that's true. You got.
We need to do something.
We'll see if you guys do anything.
Yeah. They're struggling right now, so
I'm very nervous about what the Blues do tomorrow.
Well, and with losing
Parayko.
now having Parayko out with a knee injury, but it opened up what, $12+ million of cap space.
We have $18 million to play with.
Or 18,
tomorrow.
That's right.
It's 18.5 for tomorrow. So,
and it's use it or lose it. So go get somebody, go do something, even
they can
just
get
as a
crazy.
rental.
Yeah, they can get pretty crazy now. So that's going to really makes it interesting as a Blues fan to watch tomorrow and see what happens.
But that is one of the exciting things. I always enjoy that day. I make sure I don't have meetings or stuff and stay in my office, stream that on a second monitor. Actually, I have a 60-inch TV in my office, so I'll just put it up there. But it is one of the exciting things. And from the hobby side too is, who are we going to get to our team that I may want a jersey of if I'm a fan of that player from somewhere else and they come to me or
I love watching new numbers. That's my favorite. Beyond that, the new numbers, like Trent Frederick took on, I think, 21 in Edmonton. So I'm excited. It's always funny to see a guy switch teams and then try to figure out what number he is going to take or what's available, or if he's going to do something that's kind of crazy or different. I love that. So that's like one of my favorite things about guys getting traded or going to new teams. Like, what's the new number going to look like?
And in a few cases, usually I don't think it happens in trades. I have seen it, I think, once or twice. But if a player comes in that's been known to have that number forever and another player gives it up, so then you have that gamer of the player and then they've switched numbers on you.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, was it Patrick Kane when he signed with the Wings and took his 88? Daniel Sprong had to give up that. Or volunteer to give up that number. I'm not exactly sure how it worked.
Now, was that an in-season or was that in between seasons? I don't remember.
That was in-season because Sprong played the beginning games that year wearing 88, and then Kane signed as a free agent.
That's right.
Because he was coming off the whatever injury and surgery it was, where he was out for a long time, and no one had any idea what he was going to look like.
Yeah.
It was
always
a risk.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so happy to get him there. Yeah.
It'll be exciting for sure, and see what teams look different, and of course we're down to the last handful of games coming into the playoffs, and who's on the bubble, who's going to make it. I mean, you asked me a month and a half ago if the Wade and I thought the Blues were going to be in. It's no chance in hell, and now we're with the point streak and stuff we look like we could. I don't expect us to go far if we make it, but we may actually make it in before we were not expected at all.
So, a hot dinner in the playoffs, you never know what can happen.
Right. And no, he will not be traded tomorrow. So many
Yeah.
people. Oh, there's all these calls going around that they're going to take it. No, it ain't happening. The Blues don't have somebody else to fill that position.
It's going to break my heart.
Anything else from you, Wade?
No, I mean, fun night. Sorry I was running a little late. Apologize for my computer.
Hey, it happens.
As the least technically savvy guy here, it couldn't have happened to a better person. But no, I mean, another fun show. It's always a pleasure to spend my Thursdays with you guys. Excited for the deadline, excited for next month to see Paul, excited to see the Frozen Four in person and catch a game or two. Just a happy guy.
Paul, what you got? Anything else?
Yeah, so the road to the Frozen Four really starts this weekend. The Big Ten starts their tournament. Hockey East is then a week off, and some of the other leagues are going on this weekend because that's the playoffs, I should say, the tournaments, and that's always just incredible hockey and so much fun to watch. I wish Justin was still here with us because Michigan is playing Penn State this weekend, and both are. They're on the bubble. Let's put it that way. I think Michigan's 11th and Penn State's 14th in the current pairwise. And if either team sweeps the other, it could knock the other team out, certainly. And if you sweep, you're probably in, no, for sure. But it's college hockey playoffs are weird. You're watching the pairwise ratings after every game and seeing, that's because it's what it's based on. But it would be nice if both teams could make it. That would put 5 Big Ten teams into it because Minnesota, Michigan State, and Ohio State are locks right now. And Michigan is they need to win one game this weekend. But so that's my long rambling thing on college hockey. Other thing wanted to mention, not Jersey related at all, but tomorrow, when you're listening to this on Friday, it's Bandcamp Friday. So those of you who also buy a lot of music and stuff probably already know this. When Bandcamp does Bandcamp Friday, 100% of all the revenues go directly to the bands. So just always want to put a plug in for that.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Real quick, going back to the games this weekend for NCAA hockey. Do you know, are they on ESPN or are they kind of scattered around different ways to watch them?
When the NCAA tournament starts, all that will be on ESPN.
Okay.
But these, for the Big Ten, there'll be a game or two on the Big Ten network. Mm-hmm. The rest are on Big Ten Plus, which is, a pay service.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey East, I believe, is on ESPN. We're getting better coverage of college hockey these days. The league that Denver and Western Michigan and North Dakota are in, they have their own streaming service. So, you won't get any of those games, unless you subscribe to that. But
okay.
and some of the other games will be on ESPN Plus. I mean, it's a lot of college hockey there.
Definitely check that out too, because it's fun to watch. I was at a restaurant last weekend and they had whoever Michigan was playing at a Michigan game and them on, so I could watch it in the background. Was thinking about you, going, I know who else is watching this game.
Yes.
And with Minnesota being pretty much a lock for the Frozen Four, of course, we'll have Jimmy Snookerud, our big draft pick for St. Louis, and they hope he does great things, and he may end up sticking, especially depending on if the Blues are going to be in the playoffs, sticking around post Frozen Four to get some NHL games in.
So, I mean, one thing, Minnesota is a lock for the tournament.
Okay.
Strange things happen in those, in your regionals, So it's I expect Minnesota to be there for the Frozen Four. But anything can happen. They can, get a weird pairing where they have to play Denver, in the second round. And, you never want to play Denver in the tournament. Yes. So, it's really looking forward to being out in St. Louis for, the Frozen Four. Monica and I are definitely going, even if Michigan is not there, and even if Michigan State is there. So,
one last real quick thing before we get out of here. Minnesota Wild Bruins have been making some moves. Justin Brazeau is coming from Bruins. Marat, and I can't even pronounce one of the two Wild players, and then Jacob Luco is the other one going. So Boston's made some different moves today. I said keep an eye on New York, keep an eye on Florida. I think a lot of stuff is gonna blow up big tomorrow morning into the early afternoon. So we'll may have to talk on some more of those next week in the pod. But again, keep liking, subscribing, throw out comments on the show. If you want to come on, if you have things you want us to cover or talk about, please reach out. I'm trying to build a list of people to have upcoming shows on. I've just been busy with projects and other things. So unfortunately, like I said, this isn't a primary job. I wish it was and wish we made that kind of money. But sometimes by the time I get to planning for it, it's an hour before the show. So please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we promise we will see you back next week. Apologize again for not having a show this past week, but we will try and stay on top of it the best we can. And we will see you guys back next time.